All right, we're going to try this again. Hopefully everybody's able to get on. I apologize. I did start this at 7 o'clock as I had scheduled, but the problem was that I did not have this on public, and I don't know what. So I apologize for that. So now we are on in getting started. A lot of things going on today. Bilt was kind of the news of the afternoon. I just finished a video on it. I'm working on the editing, and I'll have that done after this live stream and get it to the channel members first for them to have it today. And then I will release it to everyone else tomorrow. So if you're ever interested in supporting the channel even more than you're kind enough to do by watching and subscribing and all, feel free to join the channel. You can cancel at any time. I make sure to provide my videos 24 hours ahead of time. I also do a weekly live stream with the members as well, every week. So, but let's go ahead and get started. Got a lot of things to cover for today. So as far as when we look at these credit card offers that we're dealing with, we don't have a whole lot of changes, but we do have more information as far as some dates, ones that are ending. So American Express, we still have these Delta credit cards. Let me go back to the beginning. Sorry. So the first thing we have is the Hilton credit cards. Now we have plenty of time until August the 13th for all four of the cards. I did do a video on these Hilton cards. I'll make sure to have it in the description so that you can hopefully get, if you're looking at them, to be able to pick the best one for you. Now, the Delta credit cards are going to be ending shortly, July 16th. It's all personal and business credit cards that they have for the promotion. Now, as a reminder, Uber One got added to the Gold, Platinum, and the Reserve cards. The Gold card holders will have 6 months, while the Platinum and the Reserve card holders will have it for 1 year. Now, you do have to activate it by June 25th of 2026. So that's something you may not necessarily catch when you're doing potentially applying, but it was one that was added on recently that should be able to help, and the price didn't go up for it. So that's good information. Now, as far as Alaska Airlines, we do still have that the newer promotion now, and disregard the business one. 50,000 bonus miles, and it's a buy one ticket, get one ticket for just the taxes. Now, the fees are for $3,000 and fees for $3,000 spend in the first 90 days of the account opening. Now, we'll be talking a bit about Alaska a little bit later as well, so make sure to wait for that. Air France, I'm surprised this thing is still going on. I mentioned it last week. I still continue to be surprised by how long this is running. It can definitely end at any time. So if you have any interest in the Air France card, you're probably are on borrowed time. The Capital One, I always want to highlight the student cards because whether it's your kids that may be a student or you may even be a student, $100 bonus cash on just $300 to spend, no annual fee card, can get a lot of mileage out of that card. Of course, with Chase, we've got the Sapphire Preferred with still the promotion of being at 75,000 points instead of the normal 60,000. And then, of course, the Sapphire Reserve for personal and business. Now, we did get some dates today as far as when some things are going to end, and we got a new card that came out as far as with a promotion. So the IHG credit cards, the IHG Premier, which has the 5 free nights after $5,000 in purchases in the first 3 months. Now, each of those nights are valued at 60,000 points, which is quite high for IHG. That promotion is going to end July 23rd. That's going to be the same for the IHG One Rewards Traveler card, which is also July 23rd. That one has 120,000 points after $2,000 in purchases in the first 3 months. Anybody that's watched the channel knows I'm a huge fan of the IHG Premier card for what it can do, the status, the 4th night free, all for a $99 credit card. I definitely have a video for that I'll put in the description. World of Hyatt, we did get a new promotion for this today. 2 category 1 to 4 free night certificates for $4,000 in spend in the first 3 months. Now, you can earn 25,000 points in addition to that if you after spending $12,000 within the first 6 months. Now that's going to run through August 28th. The thing for this is going to be the value that it's going to have is going to be really depending upon how you do things with Hyatt. If you end up wanting to truly maximize this and go to a category 4 hotel, and you're doing it during peak time, you can get some outstanding value for this that would probably exceed most of the points that you would end up getting on if it's just a straight point bonus. But if you're not a person that would necessarily be doing that kind of maximization, this promotion may not be the right one for you versus if it was just a lump sum of points. You'll have to kind of determine how you would normally do this. Look at some category 1 to 4, especially category 4 hotels. See if any of them kind of fit for you. You've got plenty of time through August the 28th, but for some people, this won't be good. For some, it'll be great. So make sure to determine which one that is for you. We also got dates on the Marriott Bonvoy cards. So we have the Bonvoy Bold, 60,000 points with a 1 free night award at 50,000 points for $2,000 in spend in the first 3 months. That's going to run through July 16th. So that's fast approaching for that. If you're a person that is going to look to play the long game of the Ritz-Carlton card, which I'll have a video coming out for that in a few days, this may be the time where you might want to look at getting the Bonvoy Bold. Most of the time you would look at the Bonvoy Boundless card, which we'll talk about in just a second. But now, because of that promotion on a no annual fee card, that may be one that you'll have to kind of give a little more thought to. But remember, July 16th is the deadline for that. Now, I'll skip the United for a moment. So the Marriott Bonvoy Boundless card, 5 free night awards, each night at 50,000 points after $5,000 in spend in the first 3 months. That's also going to end July 16th as well. Same thing as we see so many free night awards. Now, I think we can pretty much follow the money of how things work. They are banking that the 5 free nights or the 5 free nights on IHG, on those, is that you're not going to get the most value for those free night awards versus if you have points that are sitting in that you don't have any timelines, no restrictions. So I definitely would end up saying, make sure that you really have a plan for any of these free night awards or the category 1 to 4 certificates. You don't want to lose value on these welcome bonuses. And if you feel that it's not right for you, it is okay. Look for the next point bonus that fits better for you and may not necessarily put as much concern or stress on you for that. They will rotate these around. Now, as far as United, we've got those through July 16th, but not the United Quest card. That one was off cycle last time when it ended in June, and then they came right back about a day or two later and put out their best offer ever on the United Quest at that 100,000 miles, 3,000 PQPs for $4,000 in spend in the first 3 months. This is a card that, if you have any interest in United, is one to strongly consider based upon the $200 credit. And that's not including all the other extra credits that they've thrown in there, but the base $200 United credit, as well as a couple of others that have already been with it, that has allowed that card to most of the time pay for itself if you're flying United. Now, as far as Citi, we do still have the Executive World Elite MasterCard from Citi Advantage at that $595 and that 100,000 miles. We just found out about the Citi Advantage Platinum Select card. $99 annual fee, but it is waived in the first year. This one is at 80,000 miles, which appears to be one of the highest in recent of people tracking it. $3,500 in purchases, and you have 4 months to be able to do that. That is a really solid card to pick up 80,000 points, and once again, no annual fee in the first year. Barclays still has those Wyndham cards. Once again, I'm also surprised that it still is continuing. But if you're looking for Wyndham, especially if you're doing the Casa for the where you're basically getting them by the bedroom, or they're all inclusives, might be a possibility for those points as well. Wells Fargo, we've got the Choice Privileges MasterCard. Really solid card if you're a person that goes to Choice hotels with any regularity. Gold status, as well as 60,000 points for $1,000 in spend. And then we've talked about the One Key and the One Key Plus cards. If you're more of a person, or at least you do it even every now and again, hotels.com, Verbo, and Expedia, those One Key Cash could be something that could be really beneficial for your travels. So we'll definitely look at that. And I want to make sure to say hello to everybody. And once again, I apologize. I was talking to myself at 7 o'clock for about 8-9 minutes until my wife told me, you're talking to yourself, you're not talking to anybody. So appreciate it. Brian, thanks for coming in. Good evening to you, sir. And to Mr. Kokol, hello, team. News released on Bilt 2.0. Wanted to hear your opinion. Yep, I will definitely touch on it a bit. For that. Matt, appreciate you coming in. I know the tidbits had already gotten some information out. And evening to you. Points for Life. Appreciate you stopping through, sir. Really a good channel. I definitely want to recommend checking out Points for Life's channel. I've enjoyed his content. Make sure you take a look at it, because it's definitely a diamond in the rough of people that are kind of missing out on it. I don't want you to end up missing out on his channel. Ryan, appreciate it. Hello, sir. Thanks for stopping in. Yep, definitely on the Bilt news. I mentioned that I actually did a video for that just before this live stream. I've got to edit it. I'm going to edit it right after this live stream, but I will share some information, my thoughts on it. And I'm going to get that video to the channel members tonight, and then get it out to everyone in the morning, early afternoon at worst, to get that out to everybody. In the AA Platinum 80,000 point offer right now, yep, definitely touched on that, Ryan. It's a great opportunity for that one. So thank you all for coming in and for your patience with me being bad on technology. So let's talk about transfer bonuses. We do have a lot of them that are going to be ending July 15th, 17th, around there. So we've got the Avios credit cards, Aer Lingus, British Airways, Iberia, 30% transfer bonus on those. Avianca has one that came out recently, and that is going to be 15% through July 31st. But you won't find it on Amex's website. It is on Avianca's website where you would find that and be able to do transfers. So that's 15%. Marriott is at 20% through July 14th. But if you move over to Chase, it's actually 50% through August 31st of 2025. Aeroplan will be ending July 17th at 20%. And then if you're a card holder, you can pick up that additional 10%. Citi came out with a couple of ones, Air France KLM Flying Blue at 20% through July 19th, and 50% on Accor Live Limitless through July 19th of 2025. Now, as far as the points and miles opportunities, as I always kind of give a bit of a disclaimer, there's a bunch of points and miles opportunities, and I try to cut through the ones that are just that have just came out, or ones that are just ending. But I make sure to try to put as many links as I can in the description for that 5,000 character limit to make sure that you've got everything that you can want to be able to look at. So make sure to check those out there. But as far as some of the ones to touch on, Southwest has their big deal sale that ends tonight at 11:59 Pacific Standard Time, up to 50% off. And according to them, there are millions of seats on sale. Use the code Big Deal, but I'll have a link for the landing page for this. As far as the times of travel, you can travel in the continental United States from August 4th through December 17th. If you're going to Hawaii, Puerto Rico, and international, that is travel to those locations August 17th through December 1st. And if you're going from there, August 17th through December 11th. And then if you're doing inter-island there in Hawaii on Southwest, July 29th through October 1st. But once again, that'll end at midnight Pacific Standard Time. Wyndham has a point purchase with a 60%, up to a 60% bonus. They will always have these, your mileage may vary. Just depends on where the luck of the draw. I'm never the luck of the draw. I didn't get 60% on when I looked at my number, but at 0.81 cents per point, if you need to do some topping off, could be a good deal for you, especially if you're looking at those credit cards, and top a little bit off to be able to stay at different locations. IHG has their summer sale, saving up to 25% at locations in the United States, Canada, Mexico, Latin America, Caribbean, East Asia, and the Pacific. You do need to book by July 16th, and then the travel is between July 11th and September 30th. There is no minimum stay required, so that's definitely helpful to be able to look at. They also have a Stay Your Way sale, which is saving up to 33%. And these are participating locations in the Middle East, Africa, India, and South Asia. Now, the best deals are, as it appears to be, if you're using the IHG mobile app. So make sure if you're doing anything with that, that you do check the app versus the your desktop app, website to see if you do see any difference. But you do have all the way till August the 15th to book. Travel is through October 15th. Emirates has 50% bonus miles when you're flying or staying with partners. You can book by August the 3rd. Flights are only September 1st through the 30th, so it's a very small window. And then the hotel stays are from now through September 30th. Now, they do have 16 partner airlines, including Air Canada and United here in the North America. And then booking for hotels must be through their Skywards hotel portal. You can earn up to 10,000 miles per night. You'll have to make your own decision as far as which one kind of fits, because you're taking their 50% bonus versus what you would normally get. So make sure you do your numbers for that. Breeze has, which seems to have a sale all the time, has one that ends tonight, same time as Southwest, 11:59 Pacific Standard Time, traveling between August the 18th and October 2nd. There is no promo required. Hyatt Homes and Hideaway Rentals. Now, if you are looking at those, they're a little bit on the higher end, but they're doing 3x on points. Now, that's not just 3x. You normally get 5x per dollar. This will raise it to 15x per dollar. So you can get a lot of miles, or a lot of points, I'm sorry, if you already have some thoughts about staying with those. That's going to end September 7th, so I want to definitely throw that out. JetBlue has done different vacation packages as they're trying to really keep the promotion up on these vacation packages. Book by July 11th for this one. Travel, though, is good from July 11th through May 31st of 2026. Now, $1 through $400 is not bad at all. I doubt it's going to change anybody's travel, but if you're already looking at it, definitely check out the pricing. You can also get 10,000 points on top of that, depending upon if you're doing a 3-night stay for a flight and hotel, or a $2,000 spend if you're doing a flight and cruise or a cruise only. Copa Airlines, buy points with up to 100% bonus. This would bring them down to 1.5 cents per point. They are a Star Alliance member with a pretty good chart for some different locations. Now, this is their best price that we've seen, and that was one that we saw, I think, in the latter part of 2024. But there are definitely good uses for this, especially if you have certain things in mind. So, but there's time to be able to look at that. Hilton Timeshare offer. I throw these out because I'm always impressed by people that can go into a timeshare promotion, sit there, do your 2 hours, and walk out and not feel stressed or anything. I've just not been built that way. I wish I could, but if you are, and especially if you're low on points or you're just starting this game, this can be a really, really good deal for you to be able to take a nice trip. Your 3 nights, they're starting at $199, plus you're getting 100,000 Hilton Honors points. If you book, you have to use it within 12 months, but the reservations are non-refundable, and you do have to sit in that 2-hour timeshare presentation. I'll have a link for the landing so you can see which locations have this going on. Air Canada is doing 2x on their international flights. Register by August 15th, travel between September 15th and December 15th. Now, your first flight does have to depart from Canada for this to qualify, and it's specifically to Asia, Australia, Europe, South America, Mexico, or the Caribbean. Alaska just came out with a 60% bonus on purchasing points. You do have all the way into August to get it. This matches the best price that we've seen on it with the 60% bonus on this. So once again, not necessarily that you have to stock up on it, but maybe there's some top offs. Maybe there's a travel that you have in mind. I've definitely been using up Alaska miles as of late. Definitely fond of their currency. And let's make sure before we go to the quick notes, let's see. Uh, Also, the American, yep, that 80,000 there. And yeah, Matt, there we go. All right. So as far as some of the quick notes that we have, 50,000 Alaska miles when you're financing or refinancing your home. Now, this is specifically with rate.com. And if you do that, you just need to make sure you're calling their dedicated phone number or use their dedicated web link. And I'll have the web link in the description. The nice part about this, the good and the bad, the good is that the 50,000 miles are not based on an amount. So there's no tiered system. So no matter how small or large it is, it's the 50,000 miles. The negative side that you definitely need to make sure of is that this is still a small amount. This is a sweetener. This is not something that you're specifically going to go through rate.com for, especially when you're doing this kind of major thing for financing or refinancing a home. So make sure that you're getting the best deal possible. If it happens to be them and you can score some miles, great. Amex is going to be opening up a Centurion lounge in Amsterdam sometime in 2026. It's going to be located between concourse E and F. Unfortunately, it's going to be slightly less than 6,000 square feet. And now Amex says they estimate that 600,000 of its cardholders pass through that airport annually. Now, the Amsterdam location is in addition to the plans that they have for Newark, Salt Lake City, and then Haneda in Tokyo. The Turkish Million Mile Challenge that we've talked about before, it's already over if you aren't already in it, which is amazing. This just launched on June 27th. But just this week, without notice, essentially, Turkish amended the rule to say that you had to at least have purchased one eligible ticket by July 8th. And so if you've not done that, your time with you trying to get in that challenge is already over. Very disappointing, especially when we've seen how well that SAS really embraced how many people got involved and paid out all those miles. But we definitely have seen where people have been a bit shy. These airlines have been shy about paying that out. I do want to give credit to Etihad, though, which had, I think we talked about last week, had added milestone points, miles that you could get based upon a tiered system so that you were still potentially getting something. And then let's talk about a little bit about the overcrowding at Delta One Lounge at JFK. So there were some recent images of overcrowding and a line out the door, which was ridiculous. I mean, it was crazy. The images appeared to be on a Saturday between 4 and 6, which is their absolute peak time. And the crowding does appear to occur in the late afternoon, early evening over there. Now, I've not been through there and definitely not been into the Delta One Lounge to date. I think this is a situation of perception. And this is the perception that Delta unfortunately gave. They had that facility is 40,000 square feet and can seat 500 people. And they basically pitched this as that this would do away with lines and overcrowding. They did not do their best estimate. Now, I've heard that when you're talking about the morning and the evening, it's relatively quiet. But that window of the late morning, early afternoon, late afternoon, early evening is quite brutal for there. So there's nothing they're going to be able to do about that. That place is huge, and that's just going to be the way it is. So, but once again, the perception that they gave became the issue. They are going to be having a 14,000 square foot lounge is coming to Miami Airport. Now, this is going to be located in Concourse E near Gate E7 on the 3rd floor. We don't really have when it's going to come, but the guesstimates are 2028. Now, they've already put out the request for proposal. The RFP has gone out with the requirement that it is a common use and or a membership lounge. Now, it cannot be exclusive to a specific airline. Now, when you consider who's already there or who's coming, British Airways is coming there. American Airlines is expanding, obviously, as a hub. Centurion and Turkish are already there. So the question obviously goes out to Chase and Capital One. Who may want to go ahead and get into Miami with that square footage? Obviously, the hope is it's one of them. That would be an excellent location for one of them to do their expansion. So we'll have to keep an eye on it. A lot of time left for that, though. JFK, I found this really interesting. So they're going to have a pop-up Cayman Club. Now, this is off of Cayman Jack Liquor, and this is going to be over at JFK. If your flight is delayed or canceled on July 17th or July 18th, you can head over to the TWA Hotel at Terminal 5, and they're going to be having a pop-up Cayman Club there that is open 3 to 8 p.m. on the 17th, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. on the 18th. And you'll be able to have free margaritas. Now, they've not said how they're going to limit you on this. And all you'll need to do is bring your boarding pass showing that you have a delayed flight, a canceled flight, and they've even are going to include if you missed a flight. So you can stop over at the Cayman Club and have some margaritas. Now, they are also going to have a virtual pop-up, we'll call it, at missedflightlounge.com. You can be able to get different swag and different type of, think they're still going to do something with margaritas. Don't know how you're going to get them, though. But that's going to be through September 1st as far as the virtual. But I thought that was pretty interesting for the JFK. I'll be looking forward to seeing pictures. So if you're in the JFK area and flying, and if you happen to miss one or have a cancellation, take some videos, some pictures, and make sure we get to see them. And so let's move over to what's up, Adam? Appreciate you stopping through, sir. Thanks so much. Clear Concierge. Now, I'm a person that normally is a pretty good fan of Clear. This one kind of went a little too far for me, and I don't know who's going to use it, and I'll be curious your thoughts if you foresee yourself using it. So Clear Concierge, now Clear is currently at 59 different locations, and now they're going to try to provide more personalized service. So you do have to have Clear Plus to begin with, and so those members can then select on a trip-by-trip basis Concierge Express, and that is where a Clear member, Clear ambassador that we would normally see at the stand will meet you curbside and walk you through security. Then you have Concierge Gate Service, which is Concierge Express Plus. They will help you with check-in, luggage, directions within the airport, and escort you to the gate. Okay, sounds fair enough. The cost for Express is $99 per trip, and Gate Service is $179 per trip. I don't get it. I don't know who will use it, but we will definitely find out. They've identified, I've got a list here of some of the airports that they're going to be at: Austin, Dallas Love Field, Denver, Detroit, Houston Hobby, Milwaukee, Minneapolis, Orlando, Palm Springs, San Juan, Salt Lake City, Tulsa, Dulles, and Reagan Airport there in DC. So, but let me know what your thoughts are about this. I just don't see it. I don't know who's doing it and how, but I'll be curious of you all's thoughts on that as well. And so I said we were going to get back to Alaska. And so now there's the redeeming of Alaska miles for Porter Airlines. Now, whether you may not know about Porter Airlines, and if you do know about them, you might be surprised that you weren't already able to redeem Alaska miles. So as far as Porter Airlines, they're the third largest airline in Canada. They're based in the eastern half, so that includes Toronto, Ottawa, and Montreal. And from those hubs, they fly throughout Canada, as well as the southwest of the and northeast of the United States, a couple of destinations in Florida, into the Bahamas, Cayman Islands, and Costa Rica. Alaska's been partnered with Porter since 2023, and they already have a reciprocal agreement as far as earning miles, but the redemption of the Alaska miles is new, and that was first seen by Award Wallet, their team, so they get credit for this. Now, if you're looking at it, you'll definitely have to spend some, calculate the numbers to see if any of these Alaska mile redemptions would make sense. So if you value, the best value seems to be best on short routes, which would be 4,500 Alaska miles in economy or 6,000 miles in premium economy. And so it could be good for positioning or visiting Canada, but you definitely got to check your numbers and your miles to make sure of which one seems to work out best for you. And then, not to move away from Alaska, Alaska companion fare on Hawaiian. Now, I think a lot of people, including myself, I've got the personal card, have been waiting for this to come up. And now, once again, Award Wallet gets credit for this. We were expecting that you were going to be able to use your Alaskan companion fare on Hawaiian Airlines in time, and that now is the case. So you can use your companion pass on Hawaiian Airlines in the main cabin for travel within the North America, and that includes Hawaii. Now, what we don't know right now is if, just like on Alaska's metal, you can normally be able to pay with points and to be able to upgrade yourself into first class. We don't, at least we don't know yet if that's going to be the case on Hawaiian Airlines. An excellent route if you're looking at Hawaii, and this was one I was looking at years ago, but would look at it more now. A potential route could be going from the East Coast on Hawaiian Airlines from Boston or JFK to Hawaii, which would be a pricey trip. But with that companion fare, it definitely opens things up for that. And it's definitely something I'm looking at. I'm curious of your thoughts of of them dealing with Hawaiian, do you look forward to some potential routes? Now, the only minor negative is that this would not include the territories like American Samoa. So we do have for that. Now, before we get to the new hotels, I figure let's touch on the Bilt. So Bilt send out a notice to all of the members this afternoon, walking through what has happened with them. And like I said, I did a video on this that'll go out tomorrow for this. But nutshell is that they basically ended up doing a round of funding. And that round of funding generated them $250 million with three pretty heavy hitters that were providing funds from the real estate market, venture capitalists. And so with that $250 million, they now are ready to make their next step. Steps that we were basically kind of waiting on of what was going to happen. And so the parts of it are, the main thing is that they are going to now break from Wells Fargo. And I think most of us kind of knew this. I mean, I did a video, and I'm sure others did too, that talked about how Wells Fargo was losing 10 million or millions of dollars. That was never going to continue. There was obviously they want to get their money out of this deal, but at some point you got to cut bait. And obviously the Bilt funding model failed. That minimum five transactions that they were really relying on, as they call it, not necessarily me, called it that people were gaming the system, that people were getting packs of gum or whatever it was to do the smallest transaction. Now, I personally, and I've mentioned this before, I never really understood it as far as people doing that. There were good enough redemptions on the 2X on rent day to pay your utilities or your insurance and still get good value out of it. So, of course, then we ended up seeing the survey that we talked about, and I did a video on that as well, where they talked about what were the members' thoughts about a no annual fee card, a $95 annual fee card, and a bordering on ridiculous $495 annual fee credit card. So now what we know is that they're going to move from Wells Fargo. They're going to move to cardless. Cardless is the ones that would have that we've talked about before that just end up in the last month or so kind of had that really ridiculous restriction of how many cards you could actually have, which I believe was one. And now they've kind of opened it up, and now now we have Bilt moving to cardless. They're tying that in with doing moving forward on those three credit cards. No annual fee, 95 and 495. Right now, we're obviously speculating that it's going to be very similar to what we saw in the survey, and I talk about that in the video as well. So we'll have to look at what that is. The 495 one, the only thing that kind of helped it was you did get priority pass, and you were getting 1.25 cents per point on your rent or mortgage. Not enough for if a person's probably looking at spending a $500 premium card, it's probably not going to be them starting with a Bilt card. And I don't know if that I've not done my numbers on my mortgage to see how much 0.25 percent higher will make in the grand scheme of things, especially on a $495 card, especially if you already have a premium credit card. So the math will have to get figured out for that. So you've got Wells Fargo getting dumped for cardless in February. You got Bilt 2.0 coming in February. Mortgage, they are really looking to try to make this even a bigger ecosystem when it comes to the mortgage game. And they have the money behind them to do it, and they have the partners to do it as well. So it looks like we might be seeing the mortgages finally come up in the fall. We still don't have much news as far as specifically for that, but we'll have to see. Now I've done a video on Mesa. I've done a couple of videos on Mesa. I've got another one coming out probably this weekend. It's a long one, so I apologize in advance. It's 28 minutes. But in that video, what I did was I went through my second month of having the card, and then I went through all of the redemption options, and I went through all of their transfer partners, and they've got a pretty good number right now to kind of talk about the good and the bad of them. So when that comes out, hopefully it'll be helpful. I've been pretty fond of Mesa so far, and they really have done a very good job of adding transfer partners. But the reality is that obviously with what Bilt has, it's a totally different ball game than Mesa. I think what the reality is that there's going to be people, we'll say whoever's included, that are going to try to see the way that Bilt puts this out. Do they leave an area, a space for us to potentially double dip between Mesa and Bilt? That's going to be the question. I would originally say that I would be shocked if there is a easy loophole to be able to double dip, but stranger things have happened. Bilt has had enough time to watch Mesa of how they've done things, especially when I thought Bilt was going to be first. So we'll have to see what happens with that. We'll have to see the details of the credit card. We're going to need of these three credit cards, and we're going to have to see exactly how the mortgage game is played to see, is there wiggle room for us? So that's kind of my thoughts in regards to that. I'll have more details in the video, but that's kind of my initial thoughts of what Bilt's kind of doing at this point. And Matt says if they relaunch with cardless with the 5 transaction quota, I'm going to laugh. Yeah, I'm going to assume that, and I'm curious of you all's thoughts. I would assume that they may keep the 5 transactions on the no annual fee credit card to do it. And I think the $95 is the cost of doing business to be able to get your rent paid for. To get the points on the rent for that without doing transactions. But we'll have to see. I would assume that's going to be your admission in with them. And Carlos having a clue would also be helpful. That is true. I think that, and I've not been as familiar with cardless, but I'm hoping that they are on the right path once they made that decision of getting rid of that ridiculous um, restriction on how many cards you can have. So we'll have to see how this goes. We've got time. There'll be more information coming out, but I'm definitely really interested in seeing how this plays out. Mesa showed them the way. MSR, not minimum transaction. Yeah, I think that I had some concerns with Mesa when I first started with them, but I I I had limited expectations. All I wanted from them at the very beginning was that they had a transfer partner, or their initial transfer partners were either part of the big three, One World, Sky Team, and Star Alliance, or that they had a currency that you could use. And they did a decent enough job with it, even though we were talking about Vietnam, Hainan Airlines, as two of the major ones. And then we had Finnair, which was an excellent one to be able to get access to the Avios. They've now done a very good job of expanding, with recently being the only major credit card one with SAS, and of course getting Air Canada Aeroplan, amongst some other ones. So I'm glad that they were able to do that. So hopefully there's a way to work with both of them, but being able to get my mortgage points on to be able to use towards Hyatt is a huge thing that I'm considering. So, but that's kind of the thoughts that I've got in regards to that, and I wanted to make sure to kind of throw that out and share it and hear you all's opinions on that as well. So, let's go back and touch on a few items. So I like to talk about the new hotels because, and I don't know about you, but for me, I would like to be able to see where can I use my points at next that could be very interesting, or something that I wouldn't have thought of. This is going to actually be pretty heavy on Park Hyatt, surprisingly enough. But let's start with the W Florence. Now, this is the second W in Italy, with the first one being in Rome, and they're going to have a third one in Poltaquatu later this summer. Now, this hotel, the W Florence, used to be the Grand Hotel Majestic on, and I'm hopefully pronouncing this, the Piazza dell'Unità Italiana. It's a historical building that was designed back in 1968. 119 guest rooms, including 16 suites and a penthouse. Tratto is an Italian restaurant with a rooftop. And then they have an Asian restaurant that both coming late summer, and that's by a pretty well-known chef, Akira Black. The pricing from $507 per night and about 70,000 points, and the W falls under Marriott. Then you've got the Park Hyatt Vancouver. Now, this is coming in 2026, but this has been done in stages. It was originally the Shangri-La Vancouver through June 30th of 2025. Then it is the Hyatt Vancouver Downtown Alberni. And then what's going to end up happening is they're going to have a multi-million-dollar renovation, and that will have it become the Park Hyatt Vancouver. Now, the pricing is pretty high as far as category. Right now, even as a Hyatt Vancouver, the current one, it is a category 7. So that clearly is going to mean that the Park Hyatt Vancouver is going to be a category 8. I don't know. We're going to have to see what that looks like. I don't know if that's going to be a great value or not for that kind of category. We'll have to see what that means. Then we have the Park Hyatt Johannesburg in South Africa. Now, this is already open. This used to be the Winston Hotel in Rosebank. Now, it joined the Hyatt portfolio and then immediately was renovated and rebranded as the Park Hyatt Johannesburg. It is their smallest, they go by keys, their smallest space for keys, 31 rooms. The amenities are a restaurant with an outdoor terrace, an event space that can accommodate up to 60 guests, which is quite high when you're only talking about 31 are there. Now, this is a category 6 hotel. Pictures look great. So if you are in Johannesburg, that might be an option. Then we have the Park Hyatt Mexico City. Now this is going to come in 2026, and it will be located in their upscale on the upscale of Campos Elíseos. I think that's what it's pronounced. Now that is going to be next to an existing Hyatt Regency, which is an interesting kind of layout. It's 155 guest rooms and 23 residences. They'll have 2 restaurants, outdoor pool, and a full-service spa. Now, this is one of 3 Park Hyatts that are coming to Mexico. Los Cabos comes this year, Cancun comes next year, and then, of course, Mexico City comes next year. So interesting as far as how much Park Hyatts they're getting there. But there's other luxury places that are there. The only one that's really there in Mexico before the Park Hyatts is at Andaz, and that would not necessarily be luxury. I think it would be considered upscale. So that's kind of some of the new hotels that are available to us to be able to look at. And then let's talk about Virgin Atlantic. They have announced a lot of different upgrades that really are going to try to position themselves as the premier option there of the Great Britain Airlines. First, they're going to start off with getting free Starlink Wi-Fi, and that should be available across the entire fleet by 2027. And that would make them the first UK-based airline to have that free Starlink Wi-Fi. Now, we've talked about Starlink Wi-Fi when it comes to United, and they're in their process of getting that done in their planes right now. I think we talked about that they just had finished the regional airplanes, Embraers and such like that. Then they're going to have a redesigned mobile app by December of 2025, and it's going to be powered by OpenAI and Tomorrow.ai. Now that Concierge AI will be able to support voice commands as well as being be able to do for multilingual. And it will assist you with booking as well as navigating yourself within the airport. So should be a nice touch for that. Then they're going to refresh the clubhouses and work on their wellness partnerships. So LAX, London Heathrow, LHR, and JFK are going to get updated designs as well as enhanced food and beverage options. We don't have a timeline on that quite yet. Votary will supply luxury skincare to the upper class amenity kits, and that's going to start this year. And then the premium cabins. Starting in the third quarter of 2026, they'll have 10 new A330neos, and with those, they're going to have 6 retreat suites. Now, that's going to be up from 2. Now, we've seen where a lot of airlines are basically taking more of the economy space and working towards more premium seating for that. And there's no difference here with Virgin Atlantic. Now, I thought it was pretty interesting. I've not seen the retreat suites before. I hadn't even heard of them. But they're fully lie flat to 6'7", which is quite long. 27-inch touchscreen, and they have seating for up to 4 to dine together. I'm curious if anybody has taken a retreat suite. The pictures I saw was pretty impressive. So that's going to go from 2. Then they're going to go have 48 upper class seats. That's going to be up from 32. And then 56 premium seats, and that's going to be up from 46. Now, by 2028, they're going to have all of their 787-9s will have 8 retreat suites, 44 upper class seats, and 56 premium seats. So this just continues the trend that we've been seeing where you're getting more and more airlines that are going to be more heavily weighted to doing more premium, making more money on those. So that's the kind of thoughts that I've got on my with this today. Want to make sure if anybody's got any thoughts or anything for us to touch on. It's a lot of different things. Make sure to look out for my build video for tomorrow, Mesa this weekend, and I actually I fly out tomorrow, flying out to Arizona and to Nevada. This is my yearly pilgrimage to go see my in-laws, and I've got to tell you, I've looked at the weather where they live in Arizona, and it is not. I'm there for about 5 days. the temperature there will not, the high will not be below 110 degrees. Now, I don't care how many people tell me about it's a dry heat. That is ridiculous. People change shades of colors for that kind of heat. So I'm there for 5 days. Then I'm going to spend a couple of days in Vegas as kind of a relaxation thing. Normally, I use my Fine Hotel and Resort credits to stay over at Resorts World, but not. But because Vegas is having so many problems they're not getting obviously as many international people coming there, and only their convention is up. Everything else is down. So I'm able to stay over at the Hilton at Resorts World, and I remember I only go there once a year, and I'm not a big gambler, but they're comping that even on a part of a weekend. So I'm not even using the Fine Hotel and Resorts, just using comped passes. So going to do that, and wife to be able to see Lady Gaga, which was a surprise that she was going to be there when we were there. So got tickets for that. So I'll be doing that, and I'll definitely still be doing the live stream next Thursday. It will be from the Hilton hotel room for that. In-laws plus house weather. Yeah, sounds great, doesn't it, Ryan? Yes. Nothing quite like it. Heat in in-laws. Yeah. Thank you so much for pointing that out. So I'll definitely be doing that. And for the members, I'll be doing the live stream next Tuesday. That will be from the bedroom of the in-laws that I'll be doing from there. So make sure to jump on for that. And I'll also be sending some different kind of notes of different things I'm seeing, some video, pictures, and such. So if anyone else is interested, consider joining the advisory board. Once again, I always appreciate you all being on this, sharing and subscribing. But if you want to jump on in, I make sure to do everything I can for the members. But if there's not anything else, thank you all so much for spending your time with me this evening. And I will get this out, and I will talk with you all soon. Have a great day.